This week, we learn what groups made it into Smash Up's new expansion, It's Your Fault, and what Gen Con events we're excited to go to.
Plus, viewer mail, we sit down and take a look at some YouTube comments from you, our viewers. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this is the Roll for Kit podcast.
A couple weeks ago, AEG announced a new expansion for Smash Up, a little different this time in that they would be taking suggestions from fans as to what factions they were going to put into the game. We talked about our ideas for these factions a few weeks ago, and today, or last week I should say, today when we're filming it, they actually released what the final choices are that are going to be in it. And they are, drum roll, no, there's no drum roll.
No drum roll.
They're going to be superheroes, sharks, Greek myth, and dragons. And I saw them, well, at least one of those were new to you just now. So we haven't discussed what our thoughts on those were. Right off the bat, I'll say I'm pretty disappointed, as I know both of us are. I saw the top 8 from yesterday, so there were two, each one was up against a different one. You know how brackets work. Yeah. And Cowboys was on there. And if people have watched this show, you know that's a big deal.
Who did it lose to?
That's a big deal for us.
Who did it lose to?
First of all, I thought it was a shoo-in looking at the options. I thought, we're going to get Cowboys.
Yeah,
because it was up against Sharks.
That only freaking won because of Sharknado. The people want a Sharknado card. That was the worst group of them all.
Because what do you put in Sharks? That's such a boring group to me. Now, Dragons, I love.
I actually think that's a little boring.
Really?
Yeah.
But it hasn't been in there. Like, there's no...
Well, the only way I'd want dragons would be if there was a medieval whole block. Like, knights, dragon. They already did princesses, though. But,
maybe.
I don't know. I just feel like this one, it just seems...
But we always wanted the basics. Isn't that what we always wanted?
Yes, but like that was a basic one that can go with 3 other basics.
I guess, but the people obviously...
Yes, the people voted, so...
also, I think it might have been up against that. Another one that lost was Hackers.
Like computer hackers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's not going to be it. But I like superheroes a lot. I think I've actually voted... I forget what it was up against. I think I voted for the other one. And Greek myth, I think, is awesome. I think that's a really good one. Gods and Poseidon and stuff. No, not excited about any of them?
None of them. I'm not excited about any of them.
Wow. You really should have made it to the voting. You could have been the one that...
I doubt I would.
Could have been the one vote. I don't know. I think they'll be cool. Of course, we don't know anything about... how they'll play
it's everyone else's fault.
I guess you're like the guy who didn't vote, and you're like, don't blame me. I didn't vote for him. Anyway, that's a whole other discussion. I'm sure more details will be coming soon about how they actually play. AEG will have to decide as well because they just found out what's going to be in it. So look forward to more of that. Speaking of new factions.
Yes, so, excuse me. Imperial Settlers had a small expansion that's been out, Why Can't We Be Friends, but didn't add anything new faction-wise. However, they've just announced the actual first new faction to be introduced, which is the Atlanteans. This is really cool because they wanted to have the Atlanteans actually play it a lot differently. They actually bring a new resource in, technology, in which a lot of it they mostly only can use. However, they have a bit of a downside. A lot of their buildings are going to sink at the end of the game, so they don't get points for them.
I really like that.
So they're going to be played a lot more differently, trying to earn points, I think, throughout the game instead of the end game goal, using technology. And the other tribes, I think, have a way to also take advantage of technology, but as well as said. But really, it's the Atlanteans that...
I mean, it makes sense after the Japanese and the Egyptians that I feel like all the new ones going forward should have like a special token or some kind of a spin on it. Because that, we're ready for we've done the more advanced stuff now. I do think it's interesting. I don't know what you think about the fact that they went to after doing all historical, actual races of people.
Well, I feel like it's actually good to go to a mythical and then maybe back to go back and forth.
I actually think it's weird that they started with historical kind of like in retrospect. It's a little I don't know. I feel like it makes more sense. To me, there's something that feels kind of strange about saying I'm going to play as the Japanese. You can be the Egyptians when it's not like a historical game. It's just like those are the choices.
That doesn't seem weird to me at all.
You don't think it's weird to be playing as a race of people when it's not. It's not like. It's like if Small World had, instead of like goblins and elves, it's just like.
Well, what about civilization?
But that's what I'm saying is that's actually the whole story of that is like the basis of the planet. It's the title, civilization. This could have been any. I don't know. I'm just saying. To me, I think it's.
I don't know. Weird. It's not odd to me. I think it makes perfect sense.
It's got to undermine me at every turn.
I do.
And but I think that's anyway. I think the Atlanteans are cool, so I think it's a good direction.
Yeah, like I said, as soon as I read the singing ability, I just thought that sounded hilarious. Like such
a
mechanic.
I do wonder how what they'll do in because that opens up the door now. You could have like. I don't know what other fictional. You could do like a Greek gods thing. You could do a lot of stuff with.
Well, I think the Atlanteans were really known for being a culture. It's not like the Greek gods aren't a culture; they're a mythos. Like the Atlanteans are known for being a certain culture. Like I would see maybe
semantics, but
El Dorado would be more likely. Like the kind of like mythical city, kind of like those kind of tribes.
Ape City. There's an Ape City.
Actually, that would be a good one.
Well, those are our new things for today. We're going to talk about a little Gen Con news because they put out the schedule of events for 2015's Gen Con in July, as well as the map of the show floor. I don't know if you saw that.
And there are a ton of events.
Yes, there are quite a few. Of course, there's a lot of them, well, besides the tournaments and just gameplay sessions. And then there's a lot of, like, how to play this kind of games or how to design this kind of game. I know we both looked and saw a couple that caught our eye. Usually we don't have...
Well, a lot did. But...
I shouldn't say usually, but last year we had almost no time, so I doubt if we're going to even get to go to most of these.
Yeah.
But what were some that you kind of thought looked interesting?
A first one, this one's more for me. Is actually a first time GMing.
It can be for you.
Well, because you've already actually GM. Like for me, I want to actually like learn more about how to GM and stuff. Because I think that's really cool, and I want to learn, how to actually do that kind of stuff.
I think I saw the same one. I'm sure I could learn some things from it. What else? I'll give one now.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had another role playing one too. Actually, right from the other side, which was encouraging role playing. Which I thought was interesting about how, basically, as a GM, how to get people excited about not just playing role-playing games, but also specifically kind of incentivizing them to get more into character, which is something that I definitely think all of us, including me, even though I'm not a character.
No, you are. You're the disembodied floating head behind our group.
Could try and do. So that's a good two sides of the coin.
Another one I thought was really cool was therapy and gaming, which actually looks like using games for therapy and things like that. Huh. And I thought that was really cool. I mean, I know a long time ago, around high school, I found out about using horses for therapy, and using horse movements to actually help with people who can't walk it as much. And I thought that was really cool. Mm-hmm. So to see gaming be able to somehow take advantage of something like that as well would be, I think, really cool.
Yeah, well, isn't it playing chess and stuff like that in nursing homes because it helps your memory, helps your brain active.
Yeah, I know. I think it's video games as well. We should mention we just chose some of that gaming, but there was everything. There's one about literally terrorist groups, not in games, the actual terrorist groups.
Yeah, no, it runs the gamut. There's all kinds of political, social issues.
There was Paranormal Activity 101.
Oh, yeah, there was one that was called Ghost Stories. So I was like, it's about the game Ghost Stories. No, it's about a group of ghost hunters that hunt ghosts. The other one that I wanted to mention, there's also one from, I think his name is David Ewalt, who actually wrote a book about Dungeons & Dragons, and it's about 10 games that could change the world in the future. I don't know, you have to go to the panel to find out what they are, but I guess the way that D&D kind of impacted us culturally. So I thought that would be really interesting to see what
I think we can already list these off the top of our head. I'm just curious to see what you do.
Monopoly? I don't know.
I think that one already did.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the dumbest thing I could think of, and I couldn't think of it. Candyland. All right. Those are all old games. Anyway, there's lots of Gen Con events, so if you haven't already, take a look. Get your tickets now before they sell out, and we will see you there if you're going to be there.
Yeah, but for now, I think it's time we tell you our Kickstarter Pick of the Week. This week, my Kickstarter Pickstarter is Cabal, which is actually a variation. I mean, not variation. It started off as a digital card game, and now it's being made a physical version.
Adaptation.
Adaptation. That's the word I was looking for. The game itself, the actual game, is you play as sort of like cult leaders, and you each have a hero. You don't actually use them; it more gives you ability. And each hero will deal with certain cabals, like they have a little symbol which tell you some multiple, some only one. So that tells you how you can make your deck, and you pretty much are vying for power with everyone. What I really like about it is it gives you multiple decks to start off with. You can go up to 4 players, and it's actually not just a regular card game. It's more like Mage Wars, in which there's more of a board for power control. You actually, like, depending where you are, there's territories, like special symbols on the board, which would give you power, lets you summon stronger spells or creatures. You can actually change up the board, so you can change it to whatever style you like. You can fit up to 4 people, down to 2. I thought that was really fun, a really cool idea. Definitely, the board control could really change things up a bit.
Yeah, I like that. Like, I think Summoner Wars is the same way, where you have cards, but they're actually on the field and they actually move around and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a smart way to add some zest to
It's an interesting also to go from digital to physical.
Right.
Because most things I know go the other way.
Right. That is kind of weird. Huh.
But that probably means also they've already done a lot of testing.
Yeah. Do you know if the digital version is free or anything, or if you
I
pay it?
don't know about the digital. I should have looked it up, but I do know this is $4. I should mention that for the base game.
$40.
$40. I know there are some. If you don't want the physical game just yet, maybe you play the digital. There are rewards to get, like the equivalent of whatever. You know how everything needs its own currency system.
Right. So if it has a currency system, it's probably a free-to-play.
Probably.
Yeah. We should try it out and see
because I know someone. I was watching a review of another reviewer, and he was talking about digital games like this in Hearthstone. So definitely something to check out. But the physical game looks really nice. I love that concept of it. The card game with territory control. And with a board that's customizable, which I really like, so you could actually make it if you want to make things more challenging or not. So overall, I'm really excited about this. I want to see where it heads from here, because assuming it follows its digital version, it might be a collectible card game. Maybe they'll follow the living, or in what they'll use expandable card game. Definitely very cool. So check it out.
Yeah, I like the sound of it. My pick this week is called Bane. And it is sort of a supernatural game in which there are 3 main races: werewolves, vampires, and humans, but they're like dark humans or something.
Where have I heard this before?
Everywhere?
Yes, that's it.
What's kind of interesting about this is you don't play as one of those races. You can sort of get all 3. And there's a rock, paper, scissors style dynamic wherein one beats the other, which beats the other, etc. You know how rock, paper, scissors
So
works?
obviously human beats everyone, though.
No.
I mean, we've killed them all.
We'd be a little unbalanced. But it is a card game, and it is sort of like a trick-taking game in that there are multiple rounds, and you're trying to get more trophies than everyone else, and you do so by playing cards that have greater speed, and whoever has the highest speed has the chance to become the hunter for that round, and everyone else could become prey. And, based on what race you have and what your speed is and your strength determines who you can overtake or can't. And, of course, there are special abilities and things like that. It's got a lot of positive buzz that comes from Gamesicle, which is a great name. And it is going to run you for $28. And it also comes with this cool Bane token, which I like, which you can use the Bane token to bane someone's cards and basically capture their cards from them. And they're different with there's a little more to it than that, but I just like there's all this terminology in the rules about baning things and what you can do when they are or are not baned.
Would you say you would do a Bane voice while playing this?
Maybe.
Just maybe. Not on camera.
Not on camera. I would love to back your Bane, Batman!
Well, ignoring that, it does sound pretty cool. I like the idea.
Yeah.
It definitely. I'm very curious to see how it works out in terms of like speed. Because if maybe there's a way to be like, I know I might not win the speed, but I have the humans, and I know he has werewolves mostly, or something like.
Yeah, I think there is some of that.
So there's some interesting like I don't need to be the fastest in this situation because I can still beat him in the rock paper scissors.
Yeah. Exactly.
I guess, do you actually know what the rock paper scissors is?
I believe vampires beat humans, humans beat werewolves, and werewolves beat vampires.
Okay.
I guess humans have guns for werewolves, and I don't know. They had to pick something. But anyway, it's called Bane, and it looks cool. That's our Kickstarter picks. You'll find links below. And now it's time to get into some viewer mail. So believe it or not, we are insanely popular here at Roll for Crit.
So popular.
And lots of people, every week, of course, we ask you guys for your comments and questions. And actually, for the first time as a segment in our history, we're going to take a look at a few of the recent comments, because we like to give back to the people.
This isn't enough.
So, first one, I've got it right here for you, right on classic paper.
We actually had a debate on whether on paper or digital. I don't know why, but our producer Ivan and John were both very adamant.
All right. I mean, I like being described as adamant. I'll take it in any context. First comes in from YouTube user Tick is great. First, he congratulates us on our 1 year.
Thank you, Tick.
He says he's very excited for Coup not Guatemala 54, but the other new one, which we talked about last week, that's on Kickstarter. As Coup is in his top 5 games of all time.
I can agree with that.
Praise.
I think that Coup's
It's
definitely
understandable.
up there. Yes.
It's up there. It's a good one. But the meat of it he got into was last week we talked about what it would be like if there were board game theme parks. Mm-hmm. And he had some ideas that I enjoy.
Okay.
First off, he thinks there should be a rent an alpha gamer function in which you hire a guy that walks around and tells you how to have fun while you're there. Then he's got the Rage Quitter, a ride where you wait in line for 4 hours just to go into a building and be shown the exit. Better than a lot of rides that I've been on in real life. I like this idea. Munchkin said you could use it as sort of the Fast Pass system where, Disney has like Fast Pass where it's like you come back and you don't have to wait in line for an hour. So that makes sense because Munchkin is all about the cards where it's like your cheat card.
Obviously it's not Fast Pass, it's a backstab.
Right. Yeah, you
backstab through the line.
You laugh at the person. Also, by the way, if there was a
it's the cheat card.
Yeah.
It's the cheat. Oh my god, that would be perfect.
If there was a theme park for board games, you'd get Munchkin promos falling out of your ears.
Oh god.
Everywhere you go. For as many rides,
the floor is literally made of Munchkin cards.
Yeah. He had some other ones. This was something like True Dungeon at Gen Con that could be reskinned for any dungeon crawler or as a betrayal at House on the Hill event. I think that's like what we were talking about with the sort of like interactive 3D puzzle solving kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, can we just get like the haunted house ride, but just betrayal version?
Yeah.
There's actually different routes, so you don't know which one you're going on.
Oh man, depending on you have to like choose a path and something could happen.
Oh no, you don't want to do that because everyone's gonna argue. We go left, no right, left, right.
And finally, his idea for a restaurant was based on Scoville. Which we have.
You don't need to say anymore. I already know. I'm eating there. That's all I know. You need to know.
Yeah. His idea was that whoever there's a hottest food challenge, and you could eat for free if you, which of course you would partake in.
I would lose, but I would enjoy it.
Yeah. So that's a perfect idea. Really, any like food or farming even based kind of touched on this. It'd be good for a restaurant.
Oh god.
Yeah, lots of good ideas.
Now you made me hungry. I want some really hot food now. Thanks a lot.
We'll take care of it for you next. Take care of it for you. Also, we got a comment from Falcon Ash K. These are all good friends of ours at this point. Who we talked a while ago about Hearthstone, how it was now on Android devices. Mm-hmm. And he said it does not work very well on the Kindle Fire. I actually had a chance to try out.
You just got a Kindle Fire.
The Hearthstone on the thing, and he's right.
I thought you were about to say like, well now, but no, you're like, no, it's all right.
No, I mean it's okay. It gets the job done, but it takes a while. It does take a long time to load up, and it's very slow.
No, I mean it
clearly wasn't designed for that thing.
No, because we're at the point right now where most things people are going to focus on Android in this situation with tablet kind of things and iPad. And like even though they started other things like the Kindle and other kind of things, they're like maybe we'll throw it on there. Where it's just that so much money they assume is on those systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Eventually, hopefully, we'll get to the point, maybe if more systems become popular and such, that they'll actually, consider them.
Yeah. It is cool as not having a real tablet. It's nice to have something.
No, I mean, I had one of the old original Kindles. This will not work on that. I just mentioned old black and white. It's loading. Hold on, Jonathan.
It'd be like on a TI-84 calculator. It's just
that'd be
zeros
faster.
and ones. Probably would. And one final one we're going to talk about, which is of great interest, I know, probably to both of us. We started on Smash Up, and we're going to end on Smash Up. We did our Smash Up playback recently, and
I mentioned how I didn't like the ghosts.
Right. We both said in our experience we did not find any good strategies for them. Well, Kuma Extreme
is here to tell us otherwise.
Came back. He says Ghost, in his experience, or her experience, is super powerful. They have the base set, Awesome 9000, and Sci-Fi, and they say Ghost is more hand control, because there are times you want a huge hand and a small hand. Ghost is all about timing to break bases on your turn. It's weak on your opponent's turns, so it's hard for them to break, but on your turn, you can decide to break the base. You have to discard your good cards, but it's worth it in the end to win. They said they've done some crazy stuff with it, like breaking one base in effect to break another base at the same time, and having no hand at that point, so that they're like way further ahead of points. By the time they're out of cards, it doesn't matter because they're already in the lead.
Interesting. I mean, that is, like we said, a possibility. We were just playing like terrible.
Yeah, like we certainly haven't given them that many chances.
Another thing that'd be interesting is maybe we're just pairing them with the wrong groups. I know someone was dumb enough to pair them with wizards.
Was it me?
No, I think it was Garrett.
That's a pretty bad combo. The drawing and the not drawing. Yeah. Well, I need to get rid of all my cards. Oh, all these cards, get me more cards. But yeah, that sounds like there is some room there for some crazy base strategies.
So
we'll have to give it another shot.
So yeah, we'll have to get Ghost a shot, and hopefully we're also wrong about all the terrible decisions in the "It's Your Fault" set.
Well, we'll have to before we do. Which expansion did Ghosts come from? Sci-Fi?
No, the first one, over 9000.
Over 9000.
Yeah.
So when we at some point get to our Smash Up expansion for that video feature, we'll have to work on our Ghosts.
Oh yeah. We need to work on our ghost. We'll have to go see the Paranormal 101 thing at Gen Con.
Right. I'm sure they'll touch on it there. It'll give us our tips. Well, those are all the viewer comments that we're going to touch on for today. But we would love to have more segments like this in the future. So if you're watching or listening to this, please send us your emails or leave your comments. But our email address is rollforcrit@gmail.com.
And of course, you can reach us through Twitter. At Roll for Crit, and of course our personal Twitters.
And there's always our website where we have lots of more stuff, all these podcasts, news, and most importantly, perhaps, games that we actually sell at great prices. All the ones we talked about on today's show, such as Smash Up and Imperial Settlers. Don't forget, of course, to subscribe on iTunes.
And here, right down there, very simple. But yeah, we'd love to hear your comments if you think there's a topic we should talk about. Or one that we already have and you want to talk about our comments on that.
Yeah.
If you feel there are some certain games we are wrong about, for example, the Ghosts, we'd love to hear that. Because odds are we probably are.
Yeah. If you side with me that it's weird to play as Japanese people, pick a side.
That sounds really bad out of context.
Hashtag weird to play as Japanese people.
Oh no.
Anyway, we are wrapping up this episode 100%. Why don't you tell people what your name is so we can leave?
Yes, I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this has been our 49th Roll for Crit podcast.